The Trade Union Congress, or TUC, says it will not take part in the countrywide warning strike called by the Nigeria Labour Congress. President of the TUC, Festus, Osifo, urged the NLC to intensify dialogue with the government, an approach it has adopted. The NLC declared about a week ago that its members will embark on a warning strike, and if nothing is done, it will then embark on a general strike to protest the rising cost of living after the government scrapped a petrol subsidy that cost the government about $10 billion yearly. The unions went on strike a month ago but suspended their action following an offer of talks with the government. But those talks did not result in concessions sufficient to placate organized labor. Well, for more on this, I'm joined live in the studio by the President of Trade Union Congress, Festus Osifo. Good to see you and thanks for your time.
Thank you so much, Suleiman.
A busy moment, hectic for you all. But quickly, I'm going through some messages, looking at what some Nigerians are saying, specifically saying you mustn't all go on strike. And one of them is also commending the TUC. Let's go back to how the TUC arrived at this decision of not joining this warning strike.
Yes, thank you so much, Suleiman. First of all, you know, NLC, it is a trade center, just as TUC as well. They have their organ, the NAC, the CWC, and the NEC. Same, we have ours. So at times, so when they sit down and take decisions, so we also sit down and take decisions. So at times, in fact, in most cases, we come together and we harmonize. The TUC had the NAC meeting, the National Administrative Council meeting, on Sunday, as well as the NEC meeting. So the NEC of TUC, just as our counterpart as well, comprises of all the affiliates of TUC, the General Secretary, the President, then the elected officers, who are the NAC members, as well as the Chairman and the Secretaries in the 36 states and FCT. So we had a meeting. So when we had that meeting on Sunday, we exhaled. Where are we coming from? Where were we as at 1 month ago? Where are we today? And what are those measures we could take in moving forward? So part of what came as, overall consensus from members of TUC was that in the last 1 month, because what we normally do, when we send letters, when we advocate, come to the media, we do advocacy, we give timelines. We don't just go to sleep. When we do that, we also follow up. So in the last 1 month, what we have been doing after that protest was that we have been reaching out. We've had meetings with the Governors Forum. We have had several meetings with even with the federal government. When they were proposing this 5 billion, initially what they were proposing was not up to 5 billion. So we made some input, we made some push. But we told them that we think that the mechanism, giving it to states, may not be the right way to go. But they also explained to us the constraint that they have, that we were the ones that kicked against the social register, that we cannot trust the social register. So how can they get to the people? So at the end of the day, they said, okay, this is what they want to do. But we told them that the sum is not even enough, that they need to push more. So they came, they told us about the inflation, that they pushed into the market, that you have excess money chasing few goods. So we made our input into it. So this will also brief our neck, the input we made. Another input we also made was also the issues that led to the MOU between, the last time I was here, we were championing the issue of CNG. But government said they want to approve, they have approved some kits.
Compressed natural gas.
Yes. So they have approved some kits to be bought. But you cannot retrofit a car without infrastructure. It's just like you are having an electric car. You have an electric car, but you don't have the plugs to charge it. So we now approach government and we told them that this system cannot work, that you must deploy infrastructure. So at the end of the day, we have some conversations with NNPC management that now led to their MOU with NIPCO. So we briefed them that these were some of the engagements we have had behind the scene, beyond the eyes of the cameras, and that they have yielded some things. But are they sufficient? The answer is no. Like the MOU that was signed is to provide infrastructures in about 8 locations. And we felt that it is not still sufficient. So we are still pushing. We are still having engagement with the management of NNPC that they have retail stations cut across the country. Today, They manage, I mean, with the Owando that was bought by OVH, I mean, with the OVH, former Owando that was bought by NNPC. So we felt that today they have about 25 to 30% of the market shares. So they can deploy the CNG infrastructures around these areas. And, you know, they can have the hubs, and as well, they will now have the retail stations. So those are some of the things we'll be doing behind the scene. And we also know that they are making some moves in that regard. The one of NIPCO has come to the surface, but there are also some moves that they are also trying to make. So we breathe the neck of the input that we have had, that we did not just fold our arm and was waiting for government to falter. No, but we kept, you know, checking on them and pushing them to do the needful. So after we explained this to NEC. So they now told us that, okay, the way it is, that it is better we keep on that dialogue. Let us keep pushing them in that regard, because what they have done is not sufficient. The 5 billion for us, we think that's just a starting point. The 3,000 buses that the federal government said they want to bring, we also felt that is a starting point. But in labor, we don't reject when anything is being given to your people. You accept, but you push more. One of the areas that we are also pushing is the area on, if you look at most states, they have been announcing some level of palliative, some of them. Yeah. But the federal government has not done anything for federal workers. Most federal workers today, who majority of them are members of TUC, they are living in, like in Abuja, for example, they are living in Lugbe, they are living in outskirts. And today, their transport fare has been, at best, tripled. So we also had engagement with them. Last week, we had engagement with some government officials on what to be done. We are also pushing them on the issue of wage award. So when we took cognizance of all these, the NEC now mandated us to continue discussion in the next 1 week and to have those push. So that now led to the meeting we had with the Minister of Labour yesterday. So we told them that it is 1 week ultimatum that we are given, that we are telling you that within 1 week you need to fix this. Otherwise, we cannot hold our members. So on their path, they also appealed. That 1 week may not be sufficient for them, that the president has traveled and that there may not be FEC meeting this week, that they have a memo that they want to present before the FEC, that when they present that memo to FEC, that they believe that it will be approved. And that's some of the things that we are talking about are there. Because we also mentioned issues relating to taxation, because the current Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy told us at the time that they were looking at issues of tax waiver for those around the minimum wage. But we said minimum wage is too small. You can take it a bit up, maybe to those earning 80,000, 90,000 naira below. So you can take it a bit up, both in private sector and the public sector. You could give them tax holiday. So those are some of the things that they said they were looking at as well. But the minister now said, okay, let's hold on, that in 2 weeks' time, that we will have that conversation. But for us, I want to set the record straight.
All right.
We are not, what NLC has done for us is part of the labor agitation. So we are not in any way condemning what they have done. It is part of the labor agitation, because for us, if we feel that our best strategy is to push from this end and they push from that end, at the end of the day, it is all about the goal. And what is that goal? The goal is the Nigerian workers and the downtrodden Nigerian people. So we'll continuously push to ensure that we get the best for Nigerians.
You know, Comrade Osifo, a good thing that you've been able to expatiate and tell Nigerians what this is about. First, initially, I had this conversation with Mahmoud Jaga, and we were trying to ask questions as to whether there is some kind of division between the TUC and the NLC, but that you just said no, you're still on the same page. But your members decided not to join the strike owing to backroom conversations. So there are no deadlock in these conversations, and you were also able to push to see that the 5 billion naira is short up, that initially it wasn't 5 billion naira, and the CNG is also in talks. Now, let's look at aggregate everything percentage-wise. In all of this, how much of these conversations would you say have reached about 80 or 90%? Because if you say, because there must be some level of some degree of achievements in these conversations with the government for you not to have joined this warning strike.
Yes. So for us, like what I've enumerated, at the end of the day, as labor,
yes,
it is never enough for us. As Labour, we keep agitating. That is why you go to the collective bargaining table, you tell them, okay, your salary, you want 300% salary. At times, in most cases, you can never achieve 300% salary increment. But by the time, if you come there and tell them exactly what is in your mind, let's say 20%, you will never get 20%. So you need to go above what you want and you keep pushing. So for us in Labour, that is always the strategy of negotiations. You cannot come with your rock bottom, because when the chiefs are down, if you tell them all you want is 20%, let's assume that is actually what you want, and they come to the table with 10%. Then when you now go to arbitration, they will not tell you, okay, 20%, 10%, what's the average? Let's stop at 15. So you have shortchanged your members. So that is why in most cases, we don't always reveal what we think is our rock bottom, because it is a strategy for negotiations. But all we need to do, just as we have assured our neck as well. So it is not open-ended. We will not continuously discuss forever.
So cumulatively, have you gone past 50%, or is it 50, 60, 70? What percentage would you say the agitation or the demands have been met?
Yes, I wouldn't want to let that out now. I wouldn't want to let that out now, because it will also go against the strategy that we have also deployed. But be rest assured that we will keep pushing until we achieve at least 80% of our set target. We'll keep pushing. But I wouldn't want them to know that today we are around 30, 40, 50 or 60, because they can factor in what our targets are.
So tell us more about the MOU. You spoke about MOU and you said it is also to ensure that there are infrastructures in about 8 locations. So what kind of infrastructure do you hope to see?
So as of today, we have been championing the issue of CNG.
Yes.
Since 2000, when we started the negotiation with the Buhari-led government, President Buhari, former president of the Federal Republic. So our push as at then was that we should have an alternative. We looked at the issue of alternative and we looked at the issue of palliatives. We felt that in the short and medium term, these are what you could do to ameliorate the sufferings of Nigerians. But at the long term, you must put things in place to better the economy. You must put things in place to create more jobs, because palliatives will finish tomorrow. Then the alternatives may not also be affordable tomorrow if people doesn't have jobs. So that is why we are marrying these strategies together, short, medium, and long-term strategies. So for us, one of the things we did, like I highlighted earlier, was the engagement we had with the NNPC that led to this agreement, because we looked at it, that there is no infrastructure of CNG. Today, if you go to Sokoto, today if you go to Kebbi, if you go to Meduguri, you will not find CNG infrastructures in these areas. As that, there are some companies that have the capacity to be able to deploy this infrastructure, to have a kind of a hub. Then when they have that hub, they can be dispensing to the retailing units. So that was what led to that agreement that was signed between NNPC and NIMCO. So our path as Trade Union Congress, we won't go back and sleep that, oh, they have signed an agreement, I will be waiting, they've given us timeline, we'll wait till that timeline. No. They have told us that these are the timelines, that by 2024, first quarter, that they are going to have about 8 different hubs. So we will not go to sleep. All we will do is we'll keep checking. 1 week, 2 weeks, 1 month, where are they? What are those things that they have done? So the MOU is about the CNG hub infrastructure that they are going to provide. But we also felt that that is not enough, because 8 hubs will not serve the entire country. There are still some private sector companies today that are also willing to invest in these areas. So we are also pushing government to have further MOUs with such private organizations to cover the other networks in the country.
And quickly here, the team or individuals, the government representatives you've been having these conversations with, are they the same team or group that the NLC is also speaking with? Because most times before now, we always see TUC, yourself, and the NLC president, Joe Ajero, together with the government team. So have you all been meeting with the same team from the government?
Yes, so official meetings, yes. Official meetings, we'll be meeting with the team as led by the chief of staff. As at then, there wasn't Minister of Labor. So it was when the Minister of Labor now came, like what we had yesterday. So we are now meeting, because Labor is our parent ministry that we go when we are agitating for any issues.
There was a meeting yesterday.
Yes, we had a meeting yesterday.
With the government?
Yes, we had a meeting with the Minister of Labour yesterday, where we presented the demand from the neck of the TUC. So it was that demand. Part of that demand was that there are some issues that must be met in 7 days. There are some issues that must be met in 14 days. The issue that must be met in 14 days, one of them is the issue pertaining RTAN, the Road Transport Employers Association of Nigeria. And in NLC, you have NUROTW, but RTAN is an affiliate of TUC. In Lagos, we discovered that they've locked their office. They seized their vehicles, they seized their buses. And for us, it is not acceptable. So what we now did was that we gave an ultimatum. We have had protests in Lagos about 3 months ago. We had protests in Lagos that now accumulated into us having some meetings with the representative of the Lagos state government. We have had about 2 or 3 meetings. As at then, there wasn't commissioner in Lagos. But they had permanent secretaries. So we met with the permanent secretary, Ministry of Transport, and about 2 other permanent secretaries, where they told us that the issues will be resolved. But up to today, it wasn't resolved. So our neck of TUC now also looked at it and said, no, that they are giving Lagos state government 2 weeks to resolve these issues. Otherwise, the entire government of, the entire paraphernalia in Lagos will be shut down. So the minister now appealed to us. That was when the minister appealed to us yesterday, that we should hold on, that the 1 week will not be sufficient because of the fact that the president is not around, and that we should wait when the president comes back next week. He's going to have a meeting with him before they meet in the Federal Executive Council meeting. That when they meet, that they will take a decision and they will get back to us, most especially on the issue of wage award and the issue of some of the allowances that we are pushing for federal workers, and also the tax waivers around those that are earning above the minimum wage, because for us 30,000 in 2019 may be equivalent to 120,000 naira today. So we are looking at a figure that they could give tax waiver to. So that is part of what is going to take to the Federal Council meeting and get back to us in 2 weeks' time.
So in other words, yesterday's meeting, how would you qualify that? Good?
Yes, I would say good, because this is the first time we are meeting with the new Minister of Labour. So for us, we are giving him the benefit of doubt. Let him go and come back. But, after we have had some meetings and there is no way out, then I could not classify him as not so good. But for today, I will say good, because we are giving him that benefit, and we'll meet again in about 2 weeks' time.
Comrade Osifo, I'd like to thank you for your time, and also thank you for giving Nigerians the fantastic update on where this is headed. We hope to come back to you again.
Thank you.